Hello, it's me again for part 2 with Tokyo Mew Mew. Our first Mew of the day is Pudding, or Pudding. She is actually one of the few Mews that isn't Japanese in the series. She is Chinese, I think, and she is based on I think it's the red tamarin monkey or lemur. But I always loved Pudding. When I was younger, she was so freaking cute, and I kind of had a similar personality when I was younger, and I always liked her character. I do like her new hairstyle a little more because it looks like she's got little ears. So I kind of went with that, and then I gave her some little monkey ears. I tried to show her Chinese heritage in the costume, which is what I liked about her original design. They don't really show it as much in the reboots design, but so I tried to do that with this. I did not prepare what I wanted to say, but yeah, I loved Pudding when I was younger. I like IRL pudding too, like chocolate pudding. That's good. But yeah, I really do enjoy this character, and I always thought she was kind of fun because all the other girls kind of took it seriously, so she was kind of the fun character that kind of got everyone to kind of cut loose a little bit, which is kind of rare in animes, especially like magical girl animes. Usually they only have like one serious character, but it seems like they actually took their jobs pretty seriously, except when Ichigo saw the guy she liked. But yeah, so she, Pudding was kind of the character that helped everyone kind of cut loose a little bit because she was the youngest. I think they said she was like between 12 to 14. I think it depended on like which localization it was. Or it was like 10 to 14, somewhere around there. But yeah, she was so cute and little. I always loved kind of like the younger characters in the cast, because I mean, I always think it's probably really irresponsible, but I always do enjoyed seeing kind of how the younger characters handle the situations compared to like some of the older characters in the cast. Also, her coloring was kind of fun to do, because I usually don't use a lot of yellows in my designs and stuff, because I personally love cooler tones like blues, greens, turquoise, as you can see. But yeah, so I've actually been kind of experimenting with Chinese style fashion a little more lately because of my upcoming Miraculous project, because of a character's design choice I did for that. So, yeah, I tried to add more of like the little fur parts. I really enjoyed adding her like tail and gloves, and then I'm like I feel like it needs more of that kind of poofy fur, so I gave her like a little belt. I always liked I love her relationship with Tart. I think it was Tart, if I remember correctly. I didn't really talk about the villains last time. The villains were named after food too. There was Tart, Quiche, and Pie. And I loved the villains because you couldn't really be mad at them, because once you kind of learned their backstory and why they were there, it's like, okay, it's not really their fault, you know? You can't really be upset with them. I really did enjoy the villains a little bit. I felt like if Quiche was a little more level-headed, he would have been a better love interest for Ichigo than the main guy, but he was kind of psychotic, so I would have to say that wasn't a good idea. But yeah, I am almost done with Pudding here, and I think the next Mew is my favorite, if I remember correctly. was fun, and she had a cute little relationship with the youngest member of the villain team, Tart. It was like a little brother and little sister fighting all the time. It was freaking adorable. I thought it was cute. I think my computer's lagging a little bit. Yeah, so enjoyed that. Next up is Sakura, my favorite Mew girl for multiple reasons. I usually don't like the loner characters, but Sakura is kind of the exception to that rule because she is a mixture of a lot of my favorite things. Apparently, the Japanese word for pomegranate is Sakura, which is my favorite fruit. And then she's a gray wolf. Her animal is a gray wolf, and I love wolves. Sakura was actually really hard to draw because I was still testing out some shading techniques, and I could not get her hair right. Like, I kept trying to do shade her hair, and I think I shaded it like 2 or 3 times, and I like colored it like 2 or 3 times, and I just couldn't get it right, so I just accepted my fate. I'm like, this looks like shit, and I'm like, I'm done. You'll see later in a minute. But I did like that they did give her a ponytail in her new design, because I felt like her hair was kind of lacking compared to the other girls. Because the other girls kind of had like their own little style to them, and her hair was just kind of down. So I kept the ponytail, and I didn't like how they did the big ribbon. So I did kind of like a smaller kind of bow ribbon thing. I ship Sakura and Mint. It is like heavily implied that Mint has a crush on Sakura, but in that day and time, LGBT relationships in manga wasn't really as prevalent, or wasn't really, I mean, it still isn't as prevalent, but it's a little more welcome nowadays. Like, you'll see a lot more often LGBT characters, and they aren't really like a butt of a joke anymore. Yeah, I always hoped that Sakura and Min would get together. She was a model in the series, it was made it really interesting to see her interactions with Mint, because Mint was like a huge fangirl, and it was really funny. I gave her a lot more distinctive makeup, because like I gave Mint some like subtle makeup, but I wanted her to have something more distinct, and I wanted her outfit to seem stylish because of her model roots, which is why I kind of added the jacket and gave her like the makeup, and kind of altered her design a little bit to make it a little more pronounced with her style. I made her regular clothes based on the new reboot Mew Mew color, and then I made her jackets and boots based on her old Mew Mew color, because I thought that'd be a nice color contradiction. I don't know why, but she was so hard to shade. I think that was when I was still figuring out what to do with my new shading technique. So I was like, how do I actually shade with this? So she looked very wonky compared to the rest of the girls, but by the time I finished, I was just done. I like shaded and reshaded, as you like saw with the hair a little bit ago. I had the hair completely shaded. I hated it, so I got rid of it and just decided to shade everything else and come back to it. But I wanted Sakura to look so good. And then I gave her a longer tail, because they give her like this really teeny tiny tail. And I'm like, she is a wolf, and wolves have big floofy tails, so I'm like, I am making her have like the floofiest tail. So I did that. I do not know what else to say. But yeah, I really enjoyed Sakura in the series, and I liked that her character was like the first of the kind of characters that I had seen in that kind of content, because in American cartoons. They didn't really have her style of character in my day and age. I mean, they have it more now, but when I was younger, she, like, characters like her didn't exist, and, like, she actually turned down joining the team at first, which I was like, that never happened, and that never happened, so I got really excited about that. And so when she actually did join the team, I was so happy because she didn't want to join the team at first, and it was really cute seeing Mint be like, yes, my idol gets to be a part of the team now, and I loved it. It was so cute. I really do enjoy her character. I really need to go through the Mew Mew series again. I know there will probably be things now that I'm like, no, I can't stand for that, but, like, anything you like from a young age is altered when you go back, because, you know, rose-colored glasses. There was actually this series that I watched when I was younger. It was one of the first animes I saw, and I'm like, oh, I never got to complete the series, and it was a good series. I go back to watching it, and it was, like, the most boring series I ever saw. I'm like, oh my god. It was so annoying. Like, it was, like, so annoyingly boring. Yeah, her hair looked so bad. Her shading looked so bad. but I just kind of gave up at that point. I was burned out on the Mew girls by that point, so I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm done. I kind of do my art in a way where I, like, kind of do it in bulk, and then I come back to it, and so I think Sakura was, like, one of my final ones that I finished. This character is from the Mew Mew sequel series, which I like this character. I didn't like how they introduced her, because the way she was introduced made everyone else kind of hate her. Her name is Berry Shirayuki, and she was like a mixture of a rabbit and a cat. I can't remember which rabbit and which cat, but so, like, the way they introduced her was they basically had Ichigo go travel with her boyfriend in another country, and then they were like, well, this new girl's the team leader now, and I'm like, no. I hate it when series do that, and so, like, a lot of the fan base hated her because of that, and I'm like, she actually had a pretty good story, and I would talk about the story more, but the villain designs were kind of yikes, which is why her series never got animated. But I did love her character and her romantic interest. He was so precious. He was like this little dork that always went around on roller skates, which is why I gave her outfit roller skates. Was kind of a nod to him. And I loved their interactions, like, in the series. He actually helped at the Mew Cafe, and he would go on, like, delivery runs for the cafe, and it was really cute. And I really did enjoy her character and her story, but I just feel bad with how she was introduced, because if she was introduced in a completely different way, I think the fan base would have been okay with her. Because the way they introduced her basically was like, Ichigo's gone, she's the new Ichigo. Screw you. And so I was just kind of upset about that. But, like, once she kind of had her own story going, it felt right. Like, she was able to kind of stand on her own. And again, I really wished her series was animated, but I completely understand why they didn't. I'm not going to say anything, but if you look up Mew Mew a la mode villains, you'll know. Like, it is bad. I don't think the creator realized what they did. Because it is, like, a big no-no in American culture. And I think she's like, oh, this is a cool design, and she didn't realize what was going on. If she did realize, that's a completely different red flag. But, yes, I love the Mew Mew a la mode series, other than the fact that they kind of just sidelined Ichigo. Because I was like, fine, we can get to know Ichigo, we can get to know her boyfriend more, because the boyfriend was like the stalest piece of bread. I don't know how people could like this guy. He was so freaking boring. Oh my god, he had like no personality. But like, that's why I loved her love interest a lot more, because he was precious. He was the sweetest boy, and he just wanted to see her succeed. And he was kind of like it was kind of like a friends to lover things. Like, they were childhood friends, and then they kind of fell in love, and it was just like, oh, that's freaking cute. But yeah, so I really enjoyed her story and kind of the characters that were introduced through her, and I think she's in the reboot. I don't know to what extent, but I think they said she's gonna be in the reboot somehow. But yeah, I really did enjoy her character. There will be one last Mew that I did a drawing for. But the next Mew, I know barely nothing about it. I know little to nothing about it. If anybody else knows more about her, then please tell me. I am almost done with Barry here, so I will explain why I don't know her in a second. But this is Ringo. She's named after an apple, and she is like a Mew character that was introduced in a video game for like the PS2, I think. It was like a RPG game. I really wish I could have played it, but my family was like a Nintendo family, so by the time I actually figured out there was a game, I'm like, I can't play it. But yeah, so she's apparently younger than the girls. Like, she's around Pudding's age, but she doesn't look like she's Pudding's age, so I tried to make her look cutesy, but I think I accidentally gave her bobblehead effect. I accidentally made her head too big. And I feel bad about that. Her animal is like a penguin, because I think she had like a pet penguin, if like from my research I remember correctly. But yeah, so I tried to make her look a little more cutesy and more little kiddish, because apparently she is like Pudding's age, but like they completely ignore that in her design. I do enjoy her design for the most part. I know they added like more ribbons and bows with the reboot, but I felt like her character was like the one character where it would have made sense, because of the way the rest of her outfit is kind of designed. So I gave her like a cute little bow on her chest. I tried not to go too crazy. I know there are other series that I'm doing redesigns for where I'm going a little more crazier with the designs, but this was kind of like a test project where I'm like, I'm just gonna do slight redesigns for Tokyo Mew Mew and go from there. So I'm not trying to explain my design choices too much, because there isn't really much of a difference. But yeah, she apparently was in the video game, and I do not know much about Mew Ringo. If I ever get my hands on the game, I will play it on stream, because I love Mew Mew, and I wish I could show that off to people. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about her, because I don't know much about her. I am finishing up details for my next couple projects. I don't know which one will come out first. It depends on how quick I finish the pages for the projects, because I'm either releasing my Miraculous Next Gen stuff first or my Pokemon project. It depends on how things kind of go for me. I'm moving along with Pokemon, but there's kind of something that I need to do before I do the videos for that, and then with my Miraculous one, I need to finish designs. for that. But on the plus side, they should be done soon. I don't know if I'll be able to release a video next week, but I hopefully within a month or so. So thank you for watching, and please like, subscribe, comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Bye bye.